father and son.
So what's your novel about?
What's my... Oh, brother. Well, it's difficult to summarize. It starts out as a kind of a first-person narrative about a guy taking care of his father after a stroke. And it's kind of based on personal experience, but only loosely.
What's the title?
The Day After Yesterday.
Oh. You mean today?
Yeah, I mean, right, but it's more...
So it's about, like, death and mortality, or...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not really. It jumps around a lot. That's what it's about, in a way. You know what I mean? And you start to see everything from the point of view of the father, and a lot of other things happen. Parallel narratives, kind of a mess. And then eventually the whole thing sort of evolves, or devolves, into this sort of Rob Grier mystery, you know? With no real resolution.
Wow.
If you forget the father part, Miles' description of his novel can also describe the whole movie sideways. Note the title, The Day After Yesterday, which, as Maya concludes, is a roundabout way of saying today. This hints that his novel ends up where it started. Note the title and the story sideways is this as well. The week Miles is spending with Jack is imitating what Miles went through in his novel. I'll discuss the ending later. So, if the movie is structured like Miles' novel, where does the father figure fit in? Let's also consider what was said by Maya about the novel after she read it.
There's so many beautiful and painful things about it. Did you really go through all that? It must have been awful.
So Miles apparently went through a painful experience dealing with his father. In the movie, it is Jack who is the father character. Here are some examples. Jack at first is trying to wean Miles out of his depression, like a father dealing with a troubled son. Jack wants to find a woman for Miles. Miles runs away when he couldn't deal with his wife remarrying, and Jack, like a father, chases after him and consoles him. Jack scolds Miles as if he were a naughty child during the no going to the dark side scene. Jack pushes the bottle away from Miles when he knew Miles had too much to drink. Jack continually is upbeat about Miles' novel and tries to keep Miles optimistic about it. Jack defends Miles at the golf course. There's even a scene that spells out this whole idea.
There's my boy. There he is. But who's your daddy? Who is your daddy? Oh, let me love you. I am so proud of you. Oh.
Jack's unadvised relationship with Stephanie is akin to the stroke Miles' father had. Suddenly, Miles is reluctantly forced to look after Jack, like a son suddenly forced to take care of a sick or addicted parent. It's awkward. Miles is clearly uncomfortable about the whole thing.
What the fuck are you doing?
What?
With this chick?
Why?
Does she know about Saturday?
Well, not exactly. But I've been honest with her. I haven't told her I'm available. And she knows this trip is only for a few days. Besides,
Besides what?
Well, you know, just the wedding.
What?
Yeah, right. Just been doing some thinking about it.
Oh, you've been thinking. And?
Might have to put the wedding on hold, is all. Look, I know that could be tricky for certain people to accept at first, all right? But life is short, Miles. I have to be sure I'm doing the right thing before taking such a big step. And you know what? That's not just for my sake. I'm looking out for Christine's feelings, too.
Jack is doing wrong. He knows he is doing wrong, and doing it nevertheless. He's like a boozing father. He rationalizes his wrongdoings, just like perhaps an alcoholic rationalizing that his drinking isn't hurting anybody. Miles can only helplessly sit and watch Jack mess things up. He, as the son figure, has no control or even much influence on the father figure. Miles, like a dutiful son, helps Jack and bails him out of trouble several times. Miles even sacrifices his car so Jack can look good to his fiancée and his in-laws to be. Addiction. There's also a theme of addiction in the movie. Miles continually gets drunk and takes all sorts of medications to treat his depression.
Or something. Anyway, what can I get you?
Highlander.
Also note how when Miles couldn't find Maya at the hitching post, he drinks her drink, Highliner. I guess the wine is to compensate for lack of female companionship. Jack has an addiction too. He's addicted to women. Like an addict, he rationalizes about it. Like an addict, it continually gets him into trouble.
Listen, man. You're my friend. And I know you care about me. And I know you disapprove, and I respect that. But there are some things that I have to do that you don't understand. And you understand literature, movies, wine. But you don't understand my plight. I know I fucked up, okay? I know I fucked up. But you gotta help me. You gotta help me, Miles. Please. Please. I can't lose Christine, Miles. I can't. I can't lose Christine. Mm-hmm. I know I fucked up. I know I did a bad thing, all right? And I know I'm a bad person. I know I am. But you gotta help me. You have to help me, Miles. Okay? Tell me you'll help me. If I lose Christine, I am nothing.
Restaurants. The movie is full of restaurants. The quality of the restaurant follows the general mood of the movie. The first one is a plain, ordinary coffee shop before there's any drama. Maya works in a very nice restaurant, and that's when things pick up. The quartet of characters eats together in a fine dining restaurant. This and the romantic sunset picnic represent the good times. When Miles is alone, he sulks in a coffee shop. Worse is at the bowling alley, with Miles in a funk and having to contend with Jack's shenanigans and crass Carol. When things go bad near the end, Miles and Jack are in a tacky Western-themed restaurant. Finally, when Miles is alone and depressed at the end, he's in a cheap fast food restaurant. Frass Canyon. Frass is defined as debris or excrement produced by insects. There's a foreboding image as Miles and Jack drive up to the Frass Canyon winery. The camera angle makes it appear as though a man is urinating wine into a truck. Miles doesn't want to be there, and this is where things really go bad for him. He's already lost Maya, and knows Stephanie is going to be through with Jack. He learns that his novel will not be published, which really pushes him over the edge.
Half my life is over, and I have nothing to show for it. Nothing. I'm a thumbprint on the window of a skyscraper. I'm a smudge of excrement on a tissue surging out to sea with 1,000,000 tons of raw sewage.
See? Right there. Just what you just said, that is beautiful. A smudge of excrement surging out to sea.
Yeah.
I can never write that.
Neither could I, actually. I think it's Bukowski.
No, I think Miles was inspired by the Frass Canyon locale to come up with the smudge of excrement remark. The ending. As I mentioned earlier, Sideways ends where it begins. Nothing is moved forward, so thus the title. Jack is back in Los Angeles with his new bride. Miles is back in San Diego teaching English. It's obvious that Jack is still the womanizer, and the beating he got from Stephanie and the near disaster he had with the waitress did nothing to deter him. He'll be cheating on his wife within a month. Miles goes back into his depression of a life, further spurred by the news that his ex-wife is now pregnant. How pathetic. He is drinking his prize Cheval Blanc from a styrofoam cup at a fast food restaurant.
And the character. Jeez, what a wreck. But I have to say that, well, I was really confused by the ending. I mean, did the father finally commit suicide or what? It's driving me crazy.
Maya finds the end of Miles' novel ambiguous. Sideways ends this way as well. Earlier, Maya had warned Miles that it might be too late to drink the 1961 Cheval Blanc. So is it too late? It's probably not important whether or not Miles ends up with Maya and ends his depression, although most viewers would probably prefer to think that. What is important is that Miles made a decision. He's finally willing to try.
I really loved your novel. Don't give up, Miles. Keep writing. I hope you're well.